it allows us to all agree that we're going to care for the space we're all in. And by that space, we mean each other.
Hi, friends. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for being here. This is a special Inner MBA webinar on essential self-care for mission-driven entrepreneurs, executives, coaches, and consultants. My name's Tami Simon. I'm the founder of Sounds True and the Inner MBA, which is a 9-month online learning immersion program beginning in September of this year, our third cohort. You can learn more at innermbaprogram.com. And I'm so pleased for this special webinar to have Melissa Carter joining us, who's actually part of the core faculty of the Inner MBA. She's also the Senior Director for Global Spiritual Life at NYU. And as part of the Inner MBA, Melissa shares something that she calls the care continuum and care agreements. And we'll be touching on that as part of our webinar today. What is the care continuum and how can a group of people care for each other through care agreements? The theme of our session is about how to be a high-performing leader who takes good care of themselves. And I want to share with you something that I discovered recently. It was a study that was conducted by the Potential Project. And what they did was they assessed 15,000 global leaders. And what they discovered in this assessment, I was actually stunned. I had no idea. And it was paradigm changing for me. And it might be for you too. What they found in this study of 15,000 global leaders is that there was a direct correlation between level of self-care, high levels of self-care, and rank. Direct correlation. The people who knew how to take good care of themselves, to get good rest, good exercise, good nutrition, were the people who found themselves having more and more and more responsibility in the organization. It wasn't the people who were driven to the edge of utter exhaustion who were in the highest ranks of senior leaders. And this got me really thinking about an old paradigm that I think I had taken on, which is, work, 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 work. The secret to success is work, work, work. And then you can just keep adding, exclamation points, work, 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 and work to the point of, yes, you get right to that brink of burnout. And actually, that's not the key to success. That's what we're learning in our work environment today. And so I'm so happy to have this conversation with Melissa Carter, who has looked at this in deep as an educator and at her work at NYU. And to begin, Melissa, I wanted to understand a little bit more, if you could share with us a bit personally about your own journey to understand the importance of self-care.
Absolutely. And thanks for having me. Good arrival, everyone. It's good to be with you. Self-care, was not a part of my life in the beginning of my career. It was, I thought I was caring for myself by that strong hustle and that overworking, and I'm going to get these accolades and these trophies and do this and do that. That was what I assumed self-care was. I assumed that it was, I had to be successful and then I could take care of myself. Then I could rest. Then I could, work out. Then I could have healthier food. Then I could, recycle, I don't know, whatever was needed at that time in self-care. And I was working in the music industry at the time. I was started out in hip hop, working with artists like Tribe Called Quest and Mobb Deep and Missy Elliott and Busta Rhymes, the greats. And I had this 10-year-long career in music, different record labels like Warner Music Group, Universal Music Group. I was one of Billboard's top 30 under 30. So I had this sparkly and shiny resume and all these accolades. And I was probably the most unhealthiest person I know. I was 30 years old, walking with a cane. I was morbidly obese. I was just living a very unhealthy and unhappy life. And I didn't feel like I was really contributing to anything other than this resume. So throughout my career, kept going, it was fine. But then I had a big layoff. And I remember that moment that my identity was so wrapped into what my job was that I had this moment of either I can continue being Melissa Miss Music, or I can actually go and find out who I am. And it was in that moment that I realized that I had so many needs that weren't being cared for. And I didn't even know what those needs were because I had paid such little attention to myself. And so I just started asking myself, how do I feel? What do I need? How do I want to feel every day? What do I never want to do again? And I made a couple different careers, if you know my whole story, a couple different careers after that. But it was really taking care of myself and getting more into more deeper and intimate dialogue with myself that I started to hear these different needs, meet those needs, and learn about different skills I had because I was more of a whole person, and I was caring for my whole person, which then allowed me to live a healthier life and really live a more peaceful life. Not just because I lost weight or because I ate healthier, or da, 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 da. It was, I was literally able to sit with myself when prior to that, I had a lot of trouble just being able to sit with myself.
It's a good background, Melissa, and I think it demonstrates how I think most of us who have come to really embrace the importance of self-care have made a journey to get here. It's a
Yes, huge.
journey.
And it's still a journey. It will never not be one, right?
Yeah.
Like self-care is not, perfectionism. The opposite of self-care isn't perfectionism, it's healthy. Or should I say the synonym is healthy. It's not, we can't be perfect in everything we do. We're not always going to nail it, but if you can answer the question, how do I feel, what do I need, and tend to those needs, and also understand the barriers that you might have to those needs based on our society, or others in the community, it's just important to be able to answer those questions.
And right here at the beginning of our conversation, Melissa, I want to touch on the care agreements that you
Sure.
introduced me to through the
Sure.
Inner MBA. And I want to introduce them as a way that we can care for each other right
Yeah.
here during this webinar, right here. So one of the things is that you're free to write in the chat anything that you would like Melissa and I to address, and we'll do our best to follow the chat. And also you can use the hand raiser function under reactions, and we'll try to bring in a few people at the end of our conversation to ask their questions live. And I'm bringing this up because we're not going to have time to go into all the care agreements, but one of them really made a big impact on me. It was number 6, that when we're with other people, we get to co-author our experience as a way of caring for each other. And what that means is we are collectively crafting this experience. Melissa, these are your words. So please speak to your needs as they arise and ask for support. And this really changed my whole view because I've been in a lot of situations. And then I remember, oh, Tami, you're co-authoring this. You could write, you could express yourself here. So I'd love to understand more about how you came up with these care agreements, and especially this notion of co-authoring experiences together as a way to care for ourselves.
Sure. So this is actually something that Yael Shai, from who is CEO of Mindfulness Consulting, her and I created together. And I remember when we were looking at the co-authorship, which is actually something I've added in recently, is I don't think we talk about interdependence enough in our society, and how we are all so interdependently connected. And we are, how I show up in a space is going to affect you, Tami, and how you show up in a space is going to affect me. How I show up to this space today is going to affect 288 people, right? So let's say I didn't care for myself. I went out raging last night. I got no sleep. I didn't prepare. I just, kind of took a sip of coffee and jumped on. We'd be having a very different conversation, right? It probably wouldn't be well thought out. It probably wouldn't be thoughtful. I probably wouldn't have any energy. It wouldn't be connected. And then these 289 people would be affected by that. So for me, the co-authorship part is maybe not everyone has a speaking part, but everyone collectively is part of this container that we have now created. And how we show up to that container affects other people. And so it's really a wonderful idea to start off an experience in care. And these care agreements are like candor, compassion, courage, come as you are, calling in. I don't have time to go through all of them, but the inner MBA does go through them. And it allows us to all agree that we're going to care for the space we're all in. And by that space, we mean each other. And I believe that it's part of our human obligation to one another to be in care. And that when we step out of care, which we very well might do, that's going to happen, we're human, we can hold ourselves accountable to the care agreements and say, hey, we're out of care right now. Let's pause. Let's slow down and get ourselves back into care. Where was the breakdown? Why did this occur? And how do we get ourselves back to where we can co-author in a way where we can all be present?